Welcome back to the Ginger Transformer podcast. This is your host, MEGA-GINGE, and this is part 4 of 5 of the best and the worst of the Generation 1 American 80s Transformers. We're now on to season 3, where we do top 5, in my opinion, episodes, and the top 3 worst episodes, once again, in my opinion. This is not something I'm telling people to believe, this is something this is just what the ones I pick as the favourite, some of which will be surprising, and some of the ones that are the worst. And season three was infamous for some really just effed up episodes. I mean, you know, there were good ones as well, but for season 3 it was mostly the art, which was gash. Gash in Scottish means like shite. Just in case you're wondering what that means. But yeah, let's get into it now. Once again, 2-parters, 3-parters, or 5-parters. In any case, I'll count as one episode because there are a lot of episodes. And if I was to say, 5 Faces of Darkness, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that would be it. I'd be done. So they all get put together. And ironically, and number 5 for me is the 5 Faces of Darkness, parts 1 through 5. Giving the time is basically like you come off of Transformers the movie into another kind of mini movie where the animation is just so much worse than the actual movie itself. Not knocking the animation for season 3 compared to the movie. Compared to the movie, the animation sucked in all of the series. The animation for the movie is quite good, like expertly done. But yeah, 5 Faces of Darkness, parts 1 through 5, reintroduces us to a couple of species we saw and introduced in the movie, the Quintessons and the Junkions. More the Quintessons, if I'm honest. The Junkions are in it, but they aren't like a major part of it. They're not part of the major overall plot like the Quintessons are. And the reason this mini series, mini movie, 5-parter made it into top 5 is for one reason only. It gives us, at this point, the very first creation myth for the Transformers. It tells us that, many, many millions of years ago, Cybertron was a factory built by the Quintessons to build robots. And that's it. They're basically telling this is the origin story of the Transformers. You know me, I like my time travel kind of stuff. Now, there's no real time travel in this one, but the Rodimus in the 4th episode goes back into the Matrix and he sees the construction of the Cybertron race by the Quintessons, the uprising, the rebellion against the Quintessons, the peace times, then the war. There was more than a few wars. I think this is the 3rd, or is it the start of a 4th by the season 3? I'm not really sure. We'll say 4. Because it's like new leaders, new bots, and Rodimus declared peace until the Decepticons came trolling back in. So I'm going to say 4th. But yeah, basically the whole thing is basically a mini movie that eventually leads up to the shock horror, the Quintessons are our masters kind of thing, from so long ago, the original creators. And we also get a shit ton of new characters. We get, let's see, but we already got like Rodimus Prime and Ultra Magnus Copper, seeing that in the movie. Here we get introduced to like a bunch of new mini bots. We get Swerve, Tailgate, Pipes. We've already seen Wheelie from the movie, and there are others as well. Going back in my head, I can't think of any other ones. I think Bumblebee in this is supposed to be hubcap at one point. I'm not really completely sure there, but hubcap's never mentioned my name, so I don't personally count him. Now we also get introduced into Skylinks, the Autobot Air Commander. And on the flip side of the coin, thankfully, because the only new Decepticon, like proper new Decepticon we got in the movie was Ratbat. Because obviously Galvatron, Cyclones, and Scourge were just Megatron and the others reformatted. We get to see the Predacons make their debut appearance. And we basically get another Decepticon combiner. We also get, for the first time, the Titans. The Autobot Titan Metroplex and the Decepticon Titan Tripticon. And they're basically just giant city-sized Transformers, and it's great to see because it's like, in the first couple of seasons, you always did wonder, okay, Transformers are big, combiners are bigger. What if there was something bigger? Then you see Unicron, and you think, no, too big, too big, too big. But these are nice. The general lore puts them about 1.5 to 2 miles tall. I mean, they are giant city bots for giant alien robots. But basically, most of the 5 episodes is to do with Rodimus coming to terms with being the new Prime, with Ultramagnus here to help him out. The Decepticons searching for and reviving Galvatron because he was just like tossed out of Unicron and at the end of the movie, so they had to go and find him because the Decepticons who've retreated to a planet called Char, they're a shambles, and it takes the Quintessons to actually get them back up and motivated into fighting Autobots because the Quintessons want them all dead, so they pit one against the other. Didn't take much. The Decepticons are looking for any excuse to attack the Autobots. And by the time that Galvatron shows up in the scene again, he turns up, takes command, makes an alliance with the Quintessons, and they all invade Cybertron with several Decepticons on Earth attacking there as well to keep the Autobot forces split. And I'm not going to lie, the Five Faces of Darkness Part 5 is one of my favourite episodes, mainly for the fact that there isn't really much else in the episode apart from things getting blown up, Autobots shooting at the Decepticons, and vice versa. We see the destruction of the Autobot Ark, which was conspicuously absent from the movie. But we see it's the Ark's final moments. When it's defending itself against Tripticon. Tripticon, being huge, just basically stands on the mountain and trashes the shit out of it. Autobot volcano destroyed. He then tries to save Metroplex only to get his ass whooped once Metroplex gets his transformation cog back, thankfully, just in the nick of time. And it ends with the Quintessons actually winning over the Autobots and Decepticons thanks to Galvatron. He was warned by Blitzwing. It's a trap, it's a trick. The guy overheard the Quintessons. They mean to betray us. He thinks he wants a Decepticon Matrix. That's not Decepticon Matrix. He wants it for himself, and so Blitzwing has no choice but to go to the Autobots for help. And then in the ensuing battle, Galvatron turns up and pulls this lever, which shuts down all the Transformers. They just like freeze in place. Thankfully, one of the few times I actually like the fact that the Autobots are allied with, any sort of biological species. They have Spike with them, adult Spike now, who takes Rodimus's gun, blows up the switch, and it frees the Autobots and Decepticons. Now, this is a bit controversial because even though the Quintessons are bad, they had basically ended the Civil War. All the Transformers everywhere shut down. Spike basically restarted the Civil War by blowing up that lever. In the heat of the moment, he thought he was doing a good thing, helping defeat the Quintessons, get the Decepticons off of Cybertron, back to Char. But at the end of the day, he did start a civil war. That if it wasn't a kids program, it was like a more adult program. They probably saw the extermination of dozens, if not hundreds, more organic species during the war. Like you see it in IDW, the IDW comics, the war spreads all over the galaxy, and it's little fleshlings like us who bear the brunt of disaster every time they turn up. But okay, so that 5-parter, yes, and the mini movie is my number 5. Number 4 is it's technically a 2-parter. It is Starscream's Ghost and Ghost in the Machine. I'm counting these as one, even though the 2 episodes I think are a few apart. But it's basically to do with the return of a fan favourite, Starscream. I mean, we all loved it when he died. It was even better when he came back as a ghost to wreak havoc, not just on the Autobots, but on the Decepticons as well, because he remembers Galvatron killed him. So he's not happy about that. No. He wants revenge. He does, and it's obvious. Obvious he's going to get it. in the first one, in the first episode of Starscream's Ghost, he isn't in it until near the end. Most of the episode is to do with Octane being a traitor for trying to take over the Decepticons in a previous episode, Thief in the Night, by using Ultra Energon to power himself and Trypticon up. And Galvatron's got it in for him, so he's sending bounty hunters, assassins to try to kill him. So he blows up his shuttle, he heads for Autobot City on Earth. He's not aligned with the Autobots, but he's got like asylum status, you know. He doesn't want to be around any Decepticons in case he gets shot. But being an Autobot City doesn't help. The Combaticons turn up and try to kill him. He's with Sandstorm at that point. None of them shoot at Sandstorm. They're obviously on a kill mission to take him out. So him and Sandstorm get on an Autobot shuttle and head for Cybertron. At a pit stop, a little flat assassin, it's a little fleshy assassin. You've seen him in a few episodes by now. He's just whiny things. He's like, I've got a family feed. Why don't you die? And he actually jumps Octane after all everyone else fails. He just starts hammering his back. You know, it's like, you have to die. Galvatron commanded it. Blah, blah. And Octane just picks up and goes, WTF? Get lost. You know? And it makes his way to Cybertron, where unfortunately for him, Cyclonus, Scourge, and the Sweeps are able to penetrate Cybertron's defenses, sneakily as is, and attack. This blows Octane through the door. Well, basically it was all sealed off, but through a closed, sealed off place to the Decepticon crypt down under, where you have statues of like Thundercracker, Skywarp, Starscream's boots, for some reason. And once he's there, Starscream's ghost just kind of appears and makes Octane shit himself because, you know, he's a ghost, he's dead, you know. He half transformed, he's like paralyzed by fear, you know, he can't move. But yeah, Cyclonus and the Sweeps follow eventually, and Cyclonus is possessed. Cyclonus then says, right, you know, Cyclonus says, right, you know, we're not going to kill him, we're going to take him back to Galvatron, I'll interrogate him there, you know, let Galvatron have the glory of killing him, blah, blah, blah. You know, because Starscream and Octane, neither of them like Galvatron, so it's an alliance of mutual interest at this point. But the Autobots, at this point, have clocked on to the fact they have invaders and attack. Once Rodimus Prime, however, realizes that this is Starscream in Clonus' body, he lets him go, because he knows that Starscream is probably one of the best weapons the Autobots have ever had against Galvatron and the others, because he's going to wreak havoc. So he says, right, we can let him go, just go. Octane's fine, he's not in danger. After a fake interrogation in front of Galvatron, which pleases him greatly, he finds out that Rodimus Prime's going to be on an isolated planet by himself, easy pickings. So Galvatron turns up and tries to fight him. This is all a setup, of course, and about a dozen other Autobots appear, and Cyclonus and Octane both take off, leaving Galvatron to his fate. Galvatron does, however, show up. Battle damaged, so it makes you wonder just how bad the Autobots are if he's been able to get away. And shoots Cyclonus point blank after realizing he's Starscream. You know, Starscream jumps out of him in time, Cyclonus is damaged. Galvatron wants them repaired, and one of the Sweeps, it might be Scourge, I'm not sure, says, yeah, no problem, we'll get it sorted. And it kind of fades to a kind of, you've got the Sweep or Scourge himself here, with Starscream kind of faded around them, so you know that Starscream's in this. I'm going to say Sweep, right? Mainly for the fact that in the next episode, you see Starscream at the start of the episode possess Scourge right there, you know? He starts attacking everyone. This is now Ghost in the Machine. And he starts attacking other Decepticons and flies off. Galvatron wants him killed. Cyclonus is saying, you know, he's just malfunctioning. But if you have to have him killed, let me and the Sweeps do it, not the Predacons. You know, it's better that we do it, you know. They follow him to Autobot held territory of Cybertron and eventually have to break off the pursuit or they'll be detected. But to their eyes, Scourge is going to join the Autobots. No. Starscream is flying Scourge's body to Unicron, the only one who's powerful enough to give him back his old body. He goes in, ditches Scourge, reactivates him by connecting like 2 wires. So I'm assuming there's like a big lengthy repair sequence that we just don't see, because it can't be that fucking easy. It just can't. He reactivates Unicron, and basically says, "I want my body back." Unicron says, "You perform 3 tasks, 3 labors, and boom, he can have his body back." Scourge tries to flee, only for Starscream to remind them, "You go back, they'll shoot you on sight," which is fair. So first task is bring me the eyes of Metroplex. This doesn't go according to plan because of Autobot interference, and one of the eyes ends up getting smashed. They end up having to go to Char to take one of Triptychon's eyes. Well, not only do they steal Astro Train, but they make fools of Thrust, Dirge, Runabout, and Runamuck to Galvatron's complete enragement. So he basically says, "Right, I'm gonna kill you all in a firing squad." Cuts back to Unicron saying, "Yeah, I'm glad I've got these, but they don't work the same." And Scourge's like, "Nah, that's because," and Starscream goes, "Shut it. What's next?" He's desperate for his body. He's like, "You'll bring the Decepticon Triptychon to me." Scourge once again moaning, "We were just there." Starscream, "Thought you were supposed to be the strong, silent type." But they go back. They bring, by the way, at this point, they have ditched Astro Train to get shot down by Autobot defenses. I'm sorry, I missed that bit. So they end up going back to the Decepticon side just in time, inadvertently, to save Thrust, Dirge, Runabout, and Runamuck from facing a firing squad because he starts to transform. They run inside of him. Galvatron's going, "What the hell's going on?" And he transforms into a Dinobot. His dinosaur mode is like 2 mile tall dinosaur mode. And says, "Yeah, I'm just boring." Starscream's like, "I'm just boring. I'll be back in a little while, you know." And Galvatron's clicked very quickly here, going, "Starscream, you're a dead mechanism." And finally, he does. Starscream does something which, is, from my point of view, was the smartest thing he's ever done. He tries to stand on him. He's in like a 2 mile tall Titan. You stand on Galvatron. It's the end of threat. Stay in Triptychon. I mean, one of the biggest, most powerful Decepticons you'll have. Don't get your own body back. You'll die again. But no, he takes one pot shot and misses him, then flies off with the Decepticons in pursuit. As Scourge, once Triptychon gets to Unicron's head, Scourge takes Transforming Cog out, puts it in Unicron's head. The Decepticons at this point have caught up, and Triptychon opens fire. He's still under possession of Starscream, so it opens fire and destroys or disables all the opposing Decepticons. The Autobots are watching all of this, kind of flabbergasted, that kind of, "What the hell's going on?" But as Blorton points out, I was looking at the view and I noticed that Unicron's got his eyes back, and Rodimus puts it all together. So, oh shit. Meanwhile, the third labor is attaching Unicron's head to Cybertron so he can have a new body. Scourge at this point says, "I'm out, I ain't doing this shit," and buggers off. Unicron tells Starscream he has to do this by himself, just let Scourge go. Scourge goes to Galvatron and the others, begging them not to kill him because he needs their help. Galvatron says, we couldn't kill you if you wanted. He's disabled all our weapons." Scourge does a Yui, straight back to Cybertron, straight to the Autobots, and goes, "Listen, we have no time for any of our shit right now. Unicron wants Cybertron for his new body. Help." And the Autobots, they believe him. And for once, he's telling the truth. So they get an assault force ready, but they realise they can't attack him until the connection is made on Cybertron because he's too powerful. So Starscream, uses Triptychon to land the head on the bodies but make the connection, forgetting that 4 disgraced Decepticons are still wandering about inside him. They don't want this any more than Scourge does, than the Autobots. They don't want Unicron revived. And that's something that actually goes all the way into like Beast Wars Neo, where you see Magmatron finding out that Unicron, there's a possibility of him being resurrected, and he suddenly decides the Maximals aren't worth it. Collecting the other stuff isn't worth it. We've got to stop him, much to the confusion of the other Predacons, who shouldn't have been confused if they lived through all this crap. But it's good to know that some Pred/Decepticons have some common sense. I digress. The Autobots attack by putting mines, like big energon explosives, around the base of Unicron's, the bottom of his head. At this point, Triptychon has been disabled on the inside by Runabout, one of the two. And Starscream flies out saying, "You want this done? I need my body now." And Unicron gives him the body. Gives him a new body. And I'm not going to lie, as a kid, I liked that bit. So, yay, he's back. Even though I was so happy he died, yay, he's back. only for the explosives to go off after Starscream tells Unicron to go himself. The explosions go off, sending Unicron's head flying into space, Starscream along with him. Galvatron's gun all of a sudden works again because he starts taking pot shots and bang, 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 bang. And it's Cyclonus that goes, wait, when did ghosts tumble through space? Is Starscream killed again? We don't know. He just flies through, we never see him again. I personally like those two episodes because it was the return of Starscream. He was one of my favourite Decepticon characters, just because he was always looking out for number one. He didn't give a toss about the cause. It was like, him. That brings us to the return of someone else. The return of Optimus Prime, parts 1 and 2, as my number 3. Once again, it says in the title, because it's the return of Optimus Prime. But it takes a hate plague, spreading throughout the galaxy before people go, we could use him, because he was officially killed in Dark Awakening. By the time it got close to season 3's end, viewership was down. People weren't happy about it with the constant mass killings of original characters, so they brought him back. It was trying to get the viewers up, but it was too little, too late. Hence why season 4 had 3 episodes. But yeah, it's retconned at the very start. The two humans find the shuttle with Optimus Prime's body on it, negating his sacrifice in Dark Awakening, and rescue him. So apparently all this was done near the Soul System. But if you watch Dark Awakening, that's a pile of crap. As a kid, you don't care. As a kid, you don't know. You don't realise. But as an adult, you watch it again, you go, They take the body back, they expose it to the hate plague, because the scientists pretty much hate Autobots and the Decepticons. Not the female scientist. She realises the Autobots are the good guys. These two other ones blame them for certain grievances throughout the episodes and their own personal history. They end up infecting, accidentally, basically the universe with the hate plague. Rodimus sends Skylinks to get a Quintesson to revive Optimus Prime's body once they rescue it. Luckily, there's only one left who knows the dire need for someone, so he works on him, has a little fun, has him hit Skylinks across the room, and then by the end of the first episode, he is back. Then he has to figure out how to fight the plague, and he has to get the Matrix from Rodimus Prime, who at this point is infected along with pretty much everyone else. He has to get the Matrix back off of him, and there's an alloy from this scientist's daughter's lab that can protect him from the virus. But it was all stolen by the Decepticons, so they have to go to Char, find Galvatron under attack by Cyclonus, Scourge, and the Predacons, all hate-plagued, and they have to do a team-up. At this point, the only survivors, uninfected, are Galvatron, Optimus Prime, Cup, Blaster, Blur, Goldbug, who is Wheelie reborn, by the way, and Steeljaw, I think, and the human. Can't remember her name, but as you've all know already, when it comes to humans, I don't give a toss. So, moving on. Galvatron leads them through this little perilous trek to their storage facility. Perilous for Autobots because they're kind of grounded. Out and Decepticons can fly, so they can dodge all the traps. And they find the alloy, and unfortunately, on this journey, most of them are infected with the hate plague, including Galvatron. By the end of it, all we have are the Quintesson, Optimus Prime, and Skylinks, who are unaffected. Optimus Prime has to go and find Rodimus and persuade him to give up the Matrix so he can have it back, so he can figure out a cure to the spore plague. That doesn't go down like that. Rodimus, shocked for a few seconds into non-violence to hear Optimus out. Then the hate plague takes back over, and he starts shooting at him, and then Optimus has to do battle with him in a smelting factory. And basically, all of everything is on the line at this point. And more than once, you think that Optimus is going to lose. At one point, he's heading into a plasma bath. Skylink saves him, only to be infected himself by Rodimus Prime. But Optimus ends up eventually just doing what a lot of people have wanted to do to Rodimus since he got the Matrix. Knocking the fucker out. Ding! Down. Done. Takes the Matrix off of him, leaves him as Hot Rod. Goes into the Matrix in the middle of a fortified Autobot city to try to find the cure. The Quintesson does what he can to fortify it more once a bunch of infected Transformers turn up. Optimus is in, he's going back through the Autobot, past Autobot leaders, Rodimus and Alpha Trion, who's guardian of the Matrix for a while, and eventually he comes across what is obviously the schematic of the Face of Death, the Quintesson Face of Death, who says the virus has been unleashed once before, and a wise man was able to contain the spores and shoot them into the sun, but there was nothing powerful enough to destroy them. Prime then thinks, well, I've got the Matrix. There's a lot of accumulated wisdom in here, like at least 4 million years worth. That should do the trick, and unleashes it, just as the Decepticons break in and try to kill him. And it cures them all. It cures the whole world, the whole galaxy. And there is, I don't know if it's an animation error or not, because you see Galvatron and a few Decepticons. I think it's Slingshot, I think, an aerial bot amongst the group of lunatics trying to kill Prime. But then, as an adult, you realise, I don't think it's an animation error. It was a group of Transformers. They were all infected. They were all rage infected. I mean, you see First Aid going on a killing spree. A few episodes before that, he was very adamant in his non-violent policies, you know? But by the end of it, the two scientists apologised. I'm sorry, I wouldn't accept an apology. I'd fuck him in jail. That's it, you two are in jail. You nearly destroyed the universe. Jail time. And bring back the death penalty. And Galvatron shakes Optimus' hands and says he's earned his respect, there will be no war today. And it's nearly the end of the day anyway because they drive off into the sunset. And that always annoyed me. Optimus and the Autobots drive off into the sunset. Where are they going? They were in Autobot City. They weren't going back to the Ark. The Ark's gone. Maybe Prime doesn't know that. Maybe he doesn't know that. Maybe he assumes it's still there. But you think someone else would have said to him, no, that's long gone. Where are we going? They all just transform and fuck off. And it's like, where are you going? You're home already. You're leaving your home to the Decepticons. You're just hoping they're not going to raid. Second episode for me personally was Fight or Flee. Sorry, it's another episode where you kind of see a little bit in the Autobots past, how some Autobots fled through some sort of interdimensional rift and ended up, colonizing a planet on the other side of this rift and making a society for themselves, unbeknownst to the Autobots, the remaining Autobots, and the Decepticons at the time. Also introduces us to the character Sandstorm. I like him. He's fun. I like his the Wrecker version of Sandstorm better. He just likes to shoot things a lot more. He's very peace. In this episode because none of them have fought for ages. None of them want to fight. But it starts with the aerial bots and Cyclonus and Scourge battering the living crap out of each other in space. They eventually combine into Superion, and Cyclonus and Scourge are outmatched. They fly through the vortex. They land on this planet, unfortunately, for the peace-loving inhabitants, take advantage of the mountains of Energon and send out a signal to Galvatron. Come here. We have a planet of slaves and a shit ton of energy at our disposal. Please, come. Sandstorm, not stupid, gets the hell out of Dodge, goes through the vortex and tries to find some allies. He eventually finds the Autobots, tells them his story, to which Cup says he's a lying bastard. Magnus says, no he isn't, this machine says he's telling the truth. And that's pretty much it, it's solved. But Sandstorm then requests all the help he can get because nearly every Decepticon going is now on his home planet. So, the Autobots decide the best way to help is to blow up the planet and hope they take all the Decepticons with it. This is a bit off from your usual kind of Autobots step in to save the day kind of thing because Prime says, new planet, blow it up. Okay, what about all the inhabitants? I mean, it's lucky they do have spaceships to get off planet, but what if they didn't? They wouldn't all fit in Skylynx's ass. No. But anyway, eventually they do get them all off, and it would have worked. The plan would have worked if Ultra Magnus hadn't been running away. He wouldn't run away. It was a tactical retreat to get off the wall before it blew up. And Galvatron shooting at him, shouting, "You coward! Get back here! You coward!" Oh, he's not a coward. He's anything but a coward. I hate him, but he's not a coward. Something's wrong. And they figure it out, so the planet's going to blow up, and pretty much every Decepticon gets off planet. They sacrifice a massive planet for nothing. The Sandstorm's home for hee-haw, Which, is a nice little episode, that. Shows that they always have more brutal times, if they need to. Especially under Optimus Prime, because I don't think Optimus ever blew up a planet that I can remember. It brings me to my favourite episode, my number one of season 3, and it does happen to have certain meaning for me, because it once again has the return of Optimus Prime. It's the first time it returns in Dark Awakening. Dark Awakening is basically, it's close to, I think, a horror episode as you're going to get the Transformers, really. Not horrible, a horror episode, because Prime Goes Back is basically a walking, talking zombie. And that's basically the quite some description. Um, Prime and a few others are under attack by the Decepticons. Galvatron blows up their ship. They escape in a shuttle. Galvatron, having been fooled once by this kind of trick, wants to examine the debris field. The Autobots set course for this large, unidentified object in space, which, once they approach it, realise it's a giant Autobot mausoleum that they spent time building. How the hell are you going to forget where it is or what it is if you spent years building it to inter your dead, including Optimus Prime? How do you forget? Apparently, the thing's the size of Manhattan. It's not small, even by Cybertronian standards. Hell, you could fit Metroplex in there. But I digress. Basically, they dock with it. There's air, so they don't have to suffocate or smother, Daniel and Spike. And Daniel, being a kid, being an idiot, after being told don't wander off, wanders off. And he wanders along. He's like, Ironhide, Prowl, naming the dead Autobots from the movie. And that's when you find that Huffer died in the movie, because he goes, Huffer. Oh. And you're sitting going, wait, what? Huffer fucking died? We didn't know that. We just assumed he wasn't back on screen. Damn it. So here we go. And he screws with something, like an idiot. And one of the lights go off and he starts banging, bang, bang. Get the light back on. Then a zombified looking Prime covered in cobwebs, looking dead, appears behind him. He turns around, sees it, freaks out, charges back, accidentally opens one of these giant robot coffins, and a random Autobot we've never seen before or since. Obviously, a corpse falls down and nearly crushes him. He then charges right into Rodimus Prime, saying he saw Optimus. Rodimus doesn't believe it for a second. The Matrix would have told him, which is true, would have. And the others advise him against going to Optimus's personal crypt, but just leave it alone, waste the resources. But he has to be sure. So he does, and he opens the tomb, find that indeed, Optimus Prime is missing. Have the Decepticons touched him? Because he instantly goes, Rodimus instantly goes, Decepticons. Whether he's heard them entering the mausoleum, or whether he's just assuming they've done it, isn't very clear. But they run through this giant veil thing where Optimus Prime's body was laid to rest. They charge through only for RC to get blasted instantly by a Decepticon. Galvatron and the others have found them, and they start totaling them, basically blowing them back through the veil, And Galvatron's excited, he's happy. This is going to be the death of Rodimus Prime. Even better, they can just lay him right next to the remains of his mentor. Now it doesn't happen. Zombie Prime, I'm just calling him Zombie Prime for this, turns up and just says, Decepticons, leave here or die. Starts blasting away. Galvatron, and one of the very few times you see this, shits himself. He's like, Optimus Prime, because he gets blasted, Not only is he seeing something come back from the dead, he gets shot by it. I'd be a little confused too. And the Decepticons retreat because Galvatron's injured, Even though Galvatron's second psychologist tells him, fight on, you cowards. Nah, the battle's done. You've got dead Autobots coming for you. That's too freaky for a lot of these people. So they go. And it's Daniel that points out that, we were all saved. We fought them off thanks to him. Basically making a point of, I was right. Dead Prime. And no, Prime can't explain why he's back. He just, cold, dark, then there was light. That was it. And Daniel postulates maybe he was in a coma, not dead. And Spike goes, you can obviously see he's not wanting to say to his son, don't be a fucking moron. Right? He was dead. He was examined by Perceptor. He turned grey. The life signs disappeared. He was dead. There was no Matrix to revive him. He gave it away. Anyway, the Autobots find out he's been building a ship. And Rodimus finally just gives up and goes, please, take the Matrix, take it. I've kept it for you, take it, please, take it. So Optimus, he goes to reach for it, he takes it, but he doesn't want it. He's fighting with himself. He's like, I want it, don't want it, I want it, don't want it, I want it. And he's fighting what's been done to him, which we find out later in the episode. So he eventually takes it, puts it in his chest, then asks everyone to forgive him. They say, forgive you for what? He pulls out the gun and starts shooting. And they sets the mausoleum on a collision course with their son and buggers off to Cybertron. Once there, he claims it was the Quintessons who killed them all. And you see Springer and Grimlock. And I think a Slingshot's in there as well. I think get a lot of Slingshot love here, you know. And they're all vowing revenge on the Quintessons, and Prime's like, we'll take all our ships, we'll shove it up, and we're going to get them, kill them all, yeah, wah. And they all leave. In the meantime, the Autobots have escaped the mausoleum that's now flying into a sun. But it basically like kills off any chance we'll ever see any of these Transformers resurrected in the future. Ironhide, Prowl, Huffer, Wheeljack, Windcharger, any of them. We won't see them again. That's that. They're gone. They're gone. They're toast. They're melted in a sun. Which kind of sucks because I also always hoping if Peter Cullen came back for Optimus Prime, that somehow we'd get Ironhide again because he was the voice of both. They returned to Cybertron to find out there's two Dinobots that have been left, Snarl and Sludge, and everyone else is gone. So they eventually take another ship because their ship crash lands when they get there and chase after the fleet. And we see on the fleet that they're heading for a specific part in space that's supposed to be a Quintesson base. Cue the Quintessons, it cuts to them, and it's like they don't know what's going on. Even Optimus doesn't know what's happened to him. Even to himself, he seems alive. So it cuts back to Prime and the others who are trying to, Hot Rod and the others are trying to get on board the flagship, and Optimus orders it shot down. But you can once again see he's fighting with himself for this decision. Thankfully, Perceptor, being Perceptor, double checks the identities once the ship is destroyed and sees that those who escaped are indeed who they say they are. Cup and Magnus now seeing that, and Hot Rod, and they bring him on board. Hot Rod gets on board and says, "Right, where's Optimus? Where is he?" He's he's in the command center, but it's locked. That doesn't stop Hot Rod. He smashes the door down and comes for him, and then there's a fight between both Hot Rod and Optimus. Optimus remembering during this what the Quintessons did to him. Basically, they brought him back, but if it wasn't for their circuit implants and a little lingering bit of memory and personality that he has, he would basically be a walking corpse, a robotic zombie. That's a robotic zombie is exactly how they describe it. And Prime can't fight what's been done to him, so he ends up nearly killing Hot Rod. But he has the Matrix in him, and that brings him back to being Optimus Prime, who returns the Matrix to Hot Rod. The ship's being blown to pieces at this point by all because obviously they're heading for a Quintesson base. No, that was a trap. Obviously involved the Quintessons. A lot of them are taking heavy fire. Optimus, in his last order, orders all Autobots back to Cybertron to get the hell out of Dodge, and in a suicide drone, he goes and collides with the detonator, the Quintesson detonator, and I assume kills all those Quintessons that were there. There to watch all this go down. That was the original ending. That was the original end of Optimus Prime. There was never supposed to be a return of Optimus Prime. That was it. He died saving, well, pretty much everyone. If you put in danger himself, not his fault, And as the ships and the survivors of the assault are flying away, you see this kind of silhouette of Optimus Prime just kind of, appear in the stars. With Optimus Prime saying, "So long, Prime, so long." And that's why it's my favorite episode. She assumed right there that was it. That was book closed on any sort of older Transformer stuff. But that's my 5 favourites. There are many to pick from in season 3, which are crap. But my top 3, Chaos is number 3 for worst episode. I hated it. They had the Predacons in it. I like the Predacons. Skylink's in it. But oh god, I don't. Cup's war stories. Some are interesting, some are just boring. And basically, yeah, this is a boring story. I personally didn't like it. It just annoyed me, It was like, oh, Cup can make mistakes. We all knew that Grimlock Cup could make mistakes, But yeah, I can't even describe the episode. It's just Chaos is a big walking green piece of shit. Basically, it's horrible. He grows chaos crystals on his back, hardest substance in the universe, and somehow he just leaves these lying about so slave robots can harvest them. Galvatron thinks, right, I'll turn Cybertron into Swiss cheese by harvesting all these and aiming a giant cannon at Cybertron. The Autobots intervene and stop him and free the slaves. And eventually Cup goes, yeah, Chaos, I'm just going to fix a mistake I made here. Blammo. And blows him away. So Cup's obviously not got a no-kill kind of rule that most Autobots have. but I didn't like that one. The second one was the Killing Jar, quite early into season three, a couple episodes, if not the episode after the five Faces of Darkness. And he basically has a human, a Quintesson, a Junkion, and a Decepticon, all eventually having to work together after everyone by the Quintesson was captured by said Quintesson scientist. He was just basically experimenting with them. It was like, we'll see what you do with this, we'll see what you do with that, and poke, poke, prod, prod. And then things go tee up. It's a boring episode, especially when they go through the black hole, the inner dimension. They all end up these like psychedelic colors, you know? Cyclonus, I think, is like green and gold. And it's like, whoa, bright, you know? Bright, bright, no, no, no. And it's a boring episode. It really is. And Cyclonus, at the very least, should not have been fooled by Broadside and Autobot turning up and saying Galvatron wants a word with him. Should not have been fooled. The human, fair enough. The Autobot, fair enough. Because, Skylines came for him. The Junkion, I didn't expect him, Redguard, to be that stupid either, if I'm completely honest. Because, it was a clown from the TV turned up in a ship and said, come on, you're the guest star on my show. Even being Redguard, I've been a little bit like, wow, how did you get here so fast at the very least? No. And it's annoying. It's very, very, just Grace, Grace. Not as bad as my first one, Carnage in C minor. It's as close to a Transformers musical episode as we'll get. I hate musical episodes. Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, anything like a musical episode, get away from it. Basically, there's a planet full of people who could only communicate through song, and they have to basically, because Soundwave and Blaster on both sides are very important to the episode because they can speak the lingo. Everyone else is just sitting going, what the hell did they say? I don't know what. And eventually, Galvatron, rightly so in this case, loses the rag. He's like, right, you know what? I need you three. I'm kidnapping you three to get what I need to destroy Alba City. Because I think he just doesn't want to be on this planet anymore, this singing planet. I don't blame them. There's one point where, Broadside just lands on someone by accident and pretty much kills him. The power of music brings them back to I could feel myself having a stroke there. You can just try to describe the episode. It was just so bad. Anything like that, anything musical, get away from, There's like one exception to that, and that's the Demon Barber Fleet Street movie. That's a good movie, musical or no musical. Oh God, and that made that the worst episode for me. Because I don't like it. It's as close to it as we're gonna get. I don't like it. But we're nearly at the end now. Next podcast is going to be, well, it's just basically a review of the Rebirth parts 1, 2, and 3, because if I do my 3 best or my 3 worst, that's the whole season. There's nothing else there really. So next podcast we've got that to look forward to, and me continually ranting. And on that note, I'll say roll out, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it.